So I'm that recording now. Forgive me, I'm trying to rearrange my windows so that they kind of make sense on my side. Share my screen with you. Here we go. Okay, there we are. I'll put my face right there. How about that? Okay. All right, guys. Well, this is Geography 21. We were a fairly late start course, as you know. I know that was somewhat confusing maybe at the beginning, thinking that classes started, gosh, what, 3 weeks ago was the normal start time, but they wanted to push this back to see if we can get a few more folks enrolled, which, I mean, I guess considering how small we are to start with, it did help. So it's been a good thing. And we started officially Monday, and then we end on, the normal time that the school ends. So time-wise, we have less weeks to work with by a few, but that doesn't mean that we have less work per se. I've been really trying to build up, pulling from other resources I have and doing this class in the past, a nice set of curriculum for you guys. That's going to be, good variation compared to what you experienced with the intro course. So the way I want to do this is kind of treat this like the first day of class kind of thing. Let's go over the syllabus and talk about what this class is all about, how to be successful, and what to do, basically. Try to give you some little technical push this button to do it this way. I'll go over Canvas also and kind of outline how I've got the Canvas world set up. I guess I really don't have to repeat too many things because most of you are already with me in the fall, and I try to keep things pretty much the same with my presentation. But there are small nuances because, every semester we should try to improve a little bit from what we did in the past. So I'll try to do my best to explain that to you guys. So this is 21, which is called Spatial Analysis with GIS, kind of a generic name. Let's put it this way. Some folks call this the intermediate GIS. I want to take it and make it a little bit more open-ended than that. Intro to GIS, we learned a lot about the theory behind just what is geographic information systems in general, like talking about defining terms like rasters and vectors, and even kind of breaking down how interpolation works. And those are all very solid foundational things that anybody that goes to work in a GIS environment or on GIS projects, or you're communicating about, what's involved with the GIS project, you have to know those things, because those are going to be, very common parts of the, the projects themselves. So this class is, and you also learned, here's the software, get to know online and pro, right? So it's like, pushing these certain buttons will do these certain things. And this is still going to be a button pushing type of class in a sense. We're not doing any programming in this class, but we're going to open up our horizons a little bit more to some of the other avenues, or the other, what's the word I'm thinking of, kind of sub categories of, they're not necessarily GIS in particular, or like Esri in particular, but these are sub industries or applications, all things that kind of be wrapped up into GIS. Okay, and we're still going to be using Pro and online and the tools you're familiar with. So actually, that would be kind of a nice transition for you, as you are experienced already. So everybody can get in touch with me directly here, right? Y'all know that by now. You can also use the chat thing on Canvas, and I try to get back to those as quickly as I can. I'm not always at my computer every day, all day long kind of thing, but most of the week I'll be, sitting here doing emails or doing other class preparations or doing other classes. So if you send me a message, I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as I can. I did change one thing here, which is our office hour. I know last time it was at 10 a.m. and up until 10 a.m. today, I had it say 10 a.m. on there. So that was a typo on my part. I think that, the initial thing kind of got carried over from last semester. So apologies for the confusion on that. But we're going to do the office hour kind of like at this same time we're doing this thing, right? At 1 p.m. on Wednesdays. That's going to be, I've set that time aside, for my own personal thing to have the priority be you guys, based on my schedule and what I've got going on. And, I know that everybody's got their own thing going on. And so I hope you all recognize that if you need to contact me for anything beyond email even, right? I might even suggest it to you if you have a technical something that we can't solve via email. And I think it's faster just to Zoom and share screens. I'm more than happy and willing to schedule private Zooms for, your concerns and trying to address those things, whatever they are, right? It doesn't even have to be GIS related. If you want to talk about your course trajectory or your career potential outcomes from something like this, I mean, something related to that, I'm always happy to help students out. It's actually kind of why one of the big things about why I like doing this job in the first place. So yeah, that's the link for that. And between 1 to 2, I will be there. If you don't come, that's okay. It's optional to come to that, because otherwise the class is asynchronous, right? Just like last semester. And that means pre-recorded videos and lectures and slides and other theoretical materials and the tutorials for the labs, right? Those are all going to be asynchronous in a way that they're presented to you. So we don't do live Zooms weekly kind of thing. Okay. I as far as the textbook goes, this is one that I still haven't kind of nailed down, let's put it that way, right? And because I have a lot of material related to what's called remote sensing, the discipline of remote sensing, already put together. And I want to have a strong focus of this class actually be related to that. So I have a lot of material from that perspective, content-wise. And I'm going to continue to look for various other text resources to help you guys, to help support you in this class. But just as of today, as of right now, I do not have a specific textbook. There's not hundreds, but there's dozens of textbooks out there related to this stuff. And I'm just the type, honestly, though, that not that I'm kind of just pulling whatever I have rabbits out of my hat, but I am more of the type that pulls things and for specific uses that I see the best fit in this type of class. And there's not always in other words, not like the other way around, which a lot of instructors would do, where, and I do this for some other classes, to be honest with you, but an author puts out a textbook, then the teacher follows the book and makes the course around the book. I'm not really like that in this instance. Okay. Now, with that being said, if I have something for you to read that I think will help and supplement, the material that we're discussing or the topics at hand, there's always going to be labs. So whatever, if I have a lab out there, there might be some text involved with that I share with you guys, an article or something like that, related to what we're working on in a lab, just to give you some context about what we're doing. We're working still with the Esri stuff, right? The Esri suite of products. So your ArcGIS Online, you should be able to have access to that still. Everything is the same from the 20 course and in terms of your credentials. So if you need help with that for whatever reason, let me know, and I'll make sure that you're part of the Chabot organization. It's not just a random account you set up. I mean, you can do that, but that doesn't allow you to have the same kind of access to what Chabot does through the organization, right? The Chabot organization, what they call it. So I want to make sure you guys are, hooked up in that system, because then everything is much more aligned in terms of what you work on and how you can push it to the online world, how I can see it. It makes my life a lot easier to grade it because then I can see it. And anyways, so online and pro, those are the two big ones, right? So those sound familiar. Online and pro is a Windows running software. Okay, Windows running software. So you have to have a Windows OS. I know that I did it in the past, many years ago, but if you have a Mac and you want to do, so the old desktop you used to be able to do on Parallels or Boot Camp, and it would do okay. I don't really know how well. I'm just speaking from personal experience that I do not have how well a Mac would work with Pro, since it's such a more updated version. So I don't know. I guess my ultimate thing would be, number one, don't reconfigure your computer all around if it's not, if it's kind of risky in the first place. But number two, we have a few resources at the college that we could try to make available, right? So there's at least one loaner laptop that was a student already has, that has Pro on it. There was another one out there that I think after it got turned in, got redistributed, another GIS laptop that got redistributed to the masses, like students that aren't GIS, which I wish I had some oversight over that process. But that was out of my control, things that happened over the holidays. So I guess what I'm trying to say though is we've had a lot of support from our dean in terms of providing resources for remote instruction, especially technical classes. And if you're in a position that you need a laptop to run the Pro, and you don't have any other, like it's you can't do this class without it, like let me know, and I will definitely try to do what I can to help you and get the dean involved. The Learning Connection, I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. It's this little room, it's not that little room. It's on the first floor of the library. They've got computers and things, kind of like a computer lab, I guess. But they have some computers with Pro installed. I haven't really been recommending it to you guys because they've been closed, right? And I'm not even sure, to be honest with you, if they're open back up again. I would imagine so, now that we're supposed to be kind of like okay to go back kind of thing. So I guess what I'm saying is the computers are out there. Everything's been closed for so long in that place that I don't think they've been wiped, but we would just have to get a hold of somebody there to say, do you still have, computer X, Y, and Z that got these software installed? Yes or no? So, hopefully that would be another resource for you. Bottom line, let me know if your software situation and your hardware situation is something that you don't personally have that can work, and you need the school to help you in that regard. We're all about equity and providing what we can to make you successful. So that's just a matter of getting in touch with me. Okay, cool. Let's keep going here. These little blurbs, I call them. Let's see, just checking my time because I do not want to go past 2. But these little blurbs here and these things here, this is all great stuff, right? This is all great stuff. This is all stuff that comes from the catalog directly, and it's in what's called our course outline of record. It's basically when they want to design a course. I'm saying like administrative people, they want to put a course together. There's these certain, descriptions and what are the students going to get out of it and all that kind of stuff. They have to put them on this outline, and then it gets submitted, and then they get accredited and all this kind of crap. So it's good, but I'm not going to read this stuff word for word. I'm going to kind of anecdotally go through the rest of it and kind of give you a view, because I think let's think about the big picture, what you're going to get out of this kind of thing. So I do want you to read through these things on your own. But like I said, my approach is not that this is a quote unquote intermediate GIS class, because there's actually quite a bit more in terms of various disciplines that I'm going to introduce to you guys. I mentioned remote sensing a moment ago, and so I do want to emphasize what that is just quickly for those that probably never heard of that term, right? We spent a lot of time last semester working with vectors, most of our labs. I think we had 14, and probably 12 out of 14, something like that, right? Was vector work. And so, you know, that leaves a whole another side of the coin that we didn't get to really touch much, right? Last time in terms of, and I'm referring to what are known as rasters. So image-based type analysis, imagery or 3D elevations, that kind of thing, right? So remote sensing is, let's see, process of detecting and monitoring physical characteristics, measuring emitted radiation. And this is a very specific technical definition I pulled from a textbook. But look at down here, cameras collect remotely sensed images, sense the Earth. Okay, so the examples, right? Cameras or satellites or airplanes taking imagery of the Earth, right? That's the whole remote thing. Like you're taking a survey via pictures, but you're doing that, you know, say you're surveying some ground infrastructure or whatever it is, and that's being done remotely because the image is acting as the kind of platform for you to be able to do the analysis on, right? But it was acquired remotely. So that's where we get this whole like remote sensing thing. So yeah, when we think of remote sensing, we're really now shifting into the raster side, heavy in the raster side of things, with a lot more imagery analysis. Okay, a lot more imagery and other types of sensors. It's not just satellite imagery only. Okay, there's a very diverse realm of disciplines, and some are more emerging than others in terms of you know, what's becoming more standardized as technology improves and grows. And, you know, we're seeing how maybe a technology in the past wasn't necessarily used in the geo world, and all of a sudden, you know, so-and-so's figured out, hey, this kind of makes sense here. Let's explore this more. And next thing you know, it's, you know, the latest and greatest thing. So yeah, we'll talk about images from satellites and airplanes, even drones. Okay, even drones, sonar systems on ships. So I have to kind of think about if we have a what's called bathymetry data set out there. You know, sonar, I'm sure you're familiar with that term, right? That's when you're underwater and you're sending a signal out and it bounces back kind of thing, right? Like the beep, beep, beep. So it's not quite that in particular, but it's a different type of related sensor that sends a signal out, active signal, to bounce off something and come back and you know, that's called a return. So it then processes a return, which can become a scan of, say, the bottom of an ocean or the bottom of a lake or something like that, right? So so yeah, things like when I said different sensors than just cameras, like active sensors. You'll learn about that term, active sensing. Active sensing, that means a signal being sent out and then also being returned. A camera doesn't actually send a signal outwards. Okay, you'll learn that. A camera only receives the signal of light that is reflected off of whatever the body is or the surface or whatever you want to call it, right? So that's more of a passive sensor. Whereas an active sensor would, boom, send something out, send some kind of pulse or you know, signal, and it's going, the intention is that it bounces off something and comes back. And so then there's this kind of measured time sync of what did that look like over millions and millions of these things happening, you know, all the time, providing this kind of scanned, you know, perspective. That's what we're getting at here. Yeah, let's see. What else? Specific uses. So why is remote sensing important? You know, it comes down to the applications and the use cases. You know, forest fires can be mapped from space. You guys actually did a little bit of that last semester. That was my kind of introduction to this with rasters. That was just a really nice lab in general, but we'll explore that too, like the different spectrums of light that can be detected beyond what just our eyes can see. Actually, that's a very important concept of remote sensing. Let's see, tracking cities, changes, farmlands, forest. You know, imagery provides us with the opportunity to capture vast lands, vast areas, with compared to ground-based work. You know, the amount of ground-based work it would take to capture, say, thousands of acres can be done in an airplane, you know, in a matter of hours, kind of thing. So these are the types of advantages, right? Mapping mountain ranges, canyons, ocean floors. We've talked about topography. We're going to get into a lot of elevation models in this class. Okay, we're gonna really explore that and dig into that a little bit more, a lot of it more actually, compared to, you know, you learned the theory a little bit last semester, and I'll refresh you on that as well, because elevation models are really important. They really are, not just in remote sensing, but anything related to GIS. And again, all of these things tie to remote sensing applications and technologies. Let's say the products that are a result of a remote sensing project thrown directly into like ArcGIS Pro and done process for analysis, like you did with the forestry thing a little bit last time, right? The forest fire thing. So that's where the connection is. It's not like I'm throwing, I don't want you to think this is kind of like a totally random thing that's being thrown at you. It's all related in terms of the geospace. But yeah, now we're talking about a subscience of geography, in particular the technology side of it, that can be, you know, GIS is really, it's not just ArcPro or Esri, it's really GIS. When we say that, you should think of it as kind of an umbrella that houses these various disciplines and specialty areas, right? And so remote sensing is one of those. You know, we learned kind of like, okay, here's the umbrella, here's what the umbrella looks like, and here are the, you know, main pieces to make that work. Well, now we're going to explore a little, not a little, but a pretty major part of what falls within that space. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Any questions so far? Good. Okay. Now, like I said, we're asynchronous, just to reiterate that. But check in with me if you need anything during office hours or otherwise. Pre-recorded videos. You guys know that part. We're doing the labs on ArcGIS Online and or ArcGIS Pro, right? So yeah, again, it just kind of depends on how I put the labs together and the order wise. It's not, we're only going to do this one for a couple of weeks and then we do that one for a couple of weeks. No, it's like we kind of bounce back and forth, which is what you'll do as a professional, to be honest with you, as you go out and, you know, you'll have to know all of these things a little bit, right? And you'll probably use 3 or 4 different Esri things on a daily basis. It's not just as good as Pro is, it's not just that, right? Okay, so let's see. Yes, as we said, there's labs. The expectation, we're going to have 10 to 12 labs in this course, right? 10 to 12 labs. They're self-paced. And what I mean by that is, I don't have a video. There's a few of them that I do, but most of them, it's like the fall, right? I give you the tutorial in a PDF. You can print it if you want, follow it that way, or just put it on another screen, or however you want to do it. And you try to follow those steps, step by step kind of thing. Most of the labs I have here are still the Learn GIS, which are Esri produced labs. And so that was kind of strange. My screen went super white. I guess you can all still see this if I can still see it. But anyways, that's the way the labs work, you know. And if you need help, if you get stuck, reach out. I'll try my best to get back to you as soon as I can. Okay, your lab work, I want to kind of continue the trend we had where we started about halfway through, we started posting some of our results. Okay, we started posting some of our results in the discussion boards. I thought that really started to bring the class to life, you know. And so it's a fun way to see other people's work, but it's also very beneficial in terms of sharing your experiences, and bad or good, you know what I mean? And not just that, but also I'm stuck. Like, hey, Jeffrey's not getting back to me in time. I got to get this done or whatever it is, right? Talk to each other, you know, and I don't expect you guys to constantly be on there every day. Like, I really don't. Okay. But it is mandatory that you're going to turn your work in on these discussion boards. And yeah, I mean, you kind of get used to it after doing it a few times, you'll know that's how the course works, right? So let's see. We as we did some trial with that last time. I was very excited when the first lab I put out there, it embedded the map and you could see it in on Canvas, and it was like beautiful. It was like the map was interactive and all this stuff. And I was like, done. We've got this. Everybody has interactive maps in one place now, right? And then we did a couple other labs and they didn't work. The embedding didn't work, right? So we're gonna just work through these the best we can. I think there continues to be bugs and even some of my incompetence in some of this, like not having enough experience in it, but there's continues to be bugs with Canvas / I'll blame it on Arc Online, where sometimes the embed works and sometimes it doesn't. So either way though, you know, I want you to put something out there beyond just some text. So even a screenshot of your map, right? And the other thing too, we can all share the links to the maps. We can also all get access to ArcGIS Online. If you want to just look on ArcGIS Online and go, it's not really organized, but if you go to the ArcGIS Online main site and then you search kind of beyond your own little profile, you go to the organization and then you go to like the content, or I think it's called the gallery. Actually, they have a big tab called gallery. You could scroll through and see everybody's in the class, what they did for their project. It's also a good way to say like, oh, okay, so they did it this way, and everybody kind of all did it this way. So I guess that's what my map should look like too, right? In most cases, that's going to be, you know, how it is. All right, so let's see. There's going to be some quizzes in the class. Notice that I don't have exams on here. So what I did this time, I decided to break up our theory into some smaller short sections. Okay, so there's just not as much theory in this one. Maybe you might think differently, but it's not because we don't have the textbook like we did last time. But that doesn't mean it's not important. The content that I do have theory-wise, I want to quiz you on, so see that you understand the important foundational pieces of it, the principles. So yeah, the idea is to have I have four short quizzes scheduled as of now. There might be one or two more as I find some more material that's appropriate, but just so you know, and when I say quiz, these are not going to be weighted as much point-wise, and they're not going to be, I think your test had about 20 questions. I don't think these even have more than 10. You know what I mean? So they're when they say quiz, it's much more of like what you think of like a quiz actually is. Again, all on Canvas though, and each time we have one of those, I will, you know, you'll see it on your calendar for one. You'll see it in the module kind of thing, but there's a schedule to them. Just know that they're not, like I said, they're not a midterm and a final exam kind of thing. That's not what we're doing this time. Okay. Another big difference about this class compared to the fall is that we have, in terms of your points, right? You know, the labs are important, just like in the past. The quizzes help fill some of that, but they're not as, you know, as much so as the exams were in 20. So this time you guys are all going to work on a final project. Okay, a final project due at the end of the class, at the end of the course. You know, we've gotten to a point now, as you've been with me you will be with me for almost a year, at least an academic year, that you should be proficient enough to take some kind of independent route, let's call it, and create your own project by using, you know, GIS, like using the tools in GIS, but also the concepts that we've took from this class and before, right? And so when I say final project, okay, I mean, they're all individual assignments to start with. It's not a group thing. I want you guys to help each other. I want you guys to talk to each other, but no, these are individual, unique projects, okay? And so think about when I say independent research here, that means like something specific that's important to you that you want to know more about or you want to map out, right? Kind of goes hand in hand, right? You want to know more about, well, that's the analysis part. And actually, I think that's how it's going to go for you guys in general, right? You have some questions and then you want to answer those questions. Those could be some, you're doing those by query, by location, by attributes kind of stuff. But ultimately, then you're mapping these things out. And so we will get into the class is not just remote sensing. I want to put that out there. I emphasize so much because it's kind of a different concept, but there's still some really here's some ArcGIS Pro techniques type of stuff that we're going to cover. Actually, the first couple of weeks are more of that, okay? And then when you're going to get through some of the remote sensing, we're going to get to a lab in particular that I'm thinking about where you design a map itself, right? That's in a PDF form. Okay, so it's like you're submitting something as a final, which is what you would do as a professional. You're submitting your final map, right? Something that could be legible for anybody, actually. Okay, so I know I'm being kind of general about this, and you're probably thinking about the various questions or the various like, what am I doing? What am I going to do for this? You have time for one thing, right? It's not due till 3 months from now. So we have a lot of time to think about it. Wow, my screen is doing some strange things, but we have a lot of time to think about it. And as the course goes on, I want you to really start thinking about various topics and how they could be mapped and how something you have in mind could turn into this project. I'm going to post the project guidelines probably a month from now because I have to revise some of that. But that will give you some guidance in terms of like, okay, this is what Jeffrey's expecting me to do, right? I'll even post some project examples, some final project examples for you guys to see, what students did in the past and how I evaluated them, okay? So I know it's a little bit vague at this moment in time, but I'll definitely give you some resources as the semester goes along, okay? And so, yeah, when we break down the points, the intention is to have 500 total, which makes the breakdown very simple, 450 to 500. So, 90 to 100, 80 to 90 kind of thing. I mean, based on the experience of last fall, number one, most of you came back, which is kind of an indicator that you did good and you enjoyed it. So I think that this type of class in particular is one that you really have to put a little bit more into it because it is a technology class and a class with some unique and challenging concepts to overcome. It's not just, it's a unique in the sense of like, this is not just English 101 that you can even Google search your way through it, right? Like, it's not like going to be like that whatsoever, okay? I guess what I'm trying to say is I expect everybody to do really well. I think last semester we all had A's and B's. Maybe the only not of that was somebody that just stopped coming or stopped doing the work, which is fine. That's what happened. Okay, if you do need any accommodations from the DSRC, that's great. Just let me know, okay, so that I can do what I can. That's a private thing. Just let me know. The rest of these things, the cheating thing, I kind of already emphasized that I expect you guys to be responsible, and you've already proven that, frankly. So I'm gonna put it in the syllabus, but I'm not gonna digress too much about cheating or student conduct, respectfulness and being kind and helpful to each other. I think, you know, those things go a long way, especially with when your fellow students might be struggling on something or need a hand or needs assistance. Even just checking in and answering some questions on the discussion board. And by you replying, that also, you know, gives you the fills the requirement that you met the discussion kind of thing, right? So it's always good, just to the more discussions you guys can foster with each other, the more camaraderie you have. You never know, you might end up, I know it's hard to, at least for me it is, because up until a couple of years ago, anytime I did GIS class, it was an in-person thing. And the students always took a lot away from just sitting by each other and talking with each other, and sometimes becoming good friends or maybe professionals that moved on to different companies, but they stayed in touch. You form some very good friendships in work relationships, okay? And so we're gonna try to do that the best we can, being online, right? I don't expect us to, you know, mimic that exactly, but you never know, right? You never know, you never know. Okay, so there's some other really good programs out there that are offered by the college. I'm gonna kind of skip through them now, financial aid and things. But yeah, look this stuff over and let me know if you need assistance with anything on there. So Juana, I think you're the only one left, which is great. Thank you. And if you have anything, you can pipe up. And if you do not, that's okay. All good. I will continue to move on. All right, so here's our course breakdown. I'm going to look at it like you guys look at it. Okie dokie. So, you know, it doesn't look like much right now. I know, right? I get it. It doesn't seem that there's much out there for you so far. But let me back up for a second, okay? Let me go into show you the view that I have. So this will give you a perspective of like what I'm planning, what I have in mind. And so as you look through what's going to happen, notice that there's actually, you know, at least, you know, 10 or so more modules. And these are just the empty pieces of it. Actually, no, they're not all empty. A lot of this stuff I have to revise because it's materials that have come from my other classes. So I want to make sure that I don't share something with you that's like, oh, from this class from 3 years ago, and I'm giving you sometimes copy and pasting, as I've you know, indicated already, can get a person in trouble. Not intentionally, but you know, for best practice, I have to go through a lot of these things and just make sure that everything is up to par for what you guys are going to be using it for. Okay. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of stuff that I've got here. I'll just do this. Collapse all, expand all. There we go. So there's a lot in store that I have, okay, as I'm scrolling through, that you will be seeing, even the project, right? I have a whole bunch of project examples that I'll share with you guys as I revise these modules. But I'm going to revise them a week and a half ahead, like I try to, like that's kind of keeps me on pace. If I get a chance, I'll try to do it even sooner than that. Okay. I wish I could open all of these up just so that you can at least preview. We're going to stick to kind of a week by week situation. You know, the thing about it is, though, week by week in terms of assignments due, not necessarily week by week module, because some modules will have 2 labs. Okay. Like for here, for example, history, remote sensing, and satellites. I've got actually 3 labs planned for here. 1, 2, 3, right? It all fits within the same module, right? So I guess what I'm trying to say is don't think that it's module, week. No, it's here's a module that's related to a topic and a part of this technology or a part of this, you know, concept we're trying to learn. And I have, you know, there might only be one. There might only be one, but I have these labs set aside for that module, for that topic. Okay. Yeah, like I said, they're going to be on a schedule. And when I publish them, they show up on your screen, but they don't necessarily unlock on your screen. Okay. So be mindful of that. When you see something here, it says will unlock, you know, on your screen, it's going to look like, that's interesting. I thought this would be locked here. This one should show up as gray on your screen. Will unlock on February 14th. Maybe I didn't do all of that. I guess I did. I don't know. It says it here. But anyways, you'll see these stacked on top of each other, and just follow them as they're posted, you know, as you can. Pretty straightforward. I don't need to go too far down that line. So anyways, we will be, like, say, for example, this one here, digitizing. I don't have any lecture material for this one. The field collector, I have a couple little side notes here, or side videos, but I don't have any. These are really more learn these tools kind of thing. But then for this part, when we get into the remote sensing stuff, I have some lectures and some slides already published for you guys, which, you know, they will be coming out for you. So in this case, you will have some theory built into your module, right? And so look at that. We have our first quiz, supposed to be part of that module there, okay? But again, like I said, don't worry about what you see on my screen as I'm doing this, particularly because I'm going to reconfigure a lot of this stuff. But I'm trying to put it out there so that you kind of get an idea of what you can expect, right? And in that case, you'll see a video and slide, a quiz, and a lab kind of thing, all related to the same thing. Now, those first couple things I outlined, say for this module, then you have that first lab. Then, well, actually here I do have more lecture. So yeah, it's just kind of I'm trying to simplify this best I can. I think I'm kind of talking too much about it rather than keeping it simple, right? As you go through the course, if you need help understanding what you're supposed to do, I often get questions like that, honestly, and it's okay. I get it. Sometimes online courses, especially if you're taking more than one from these different teachers, like I said, I'm a student, okay, so I get it too. Like, just navigating how the instructor presents the material can be a challenge at times, right? But if you are at a stage that if you get to a point where you hit a wall and something's not working and Canvas is like, doesn't make sense, just let me know, okay? I'll be there. I'll be there to help you out, okay? Okay, I'm only going to say a couple more things just to give you an idea what we have in store. So our first couple of items, like I said, these are some unique, you know, new techniques and tools I want you guys to pick up on. Then we get pretty heavy into the remote sensing side of things from mid-February, pretty much through the break, actually all the way past the break. And I might switch these up order-wise. But think of it like the middle part of the class is going to be the remote sensing stuff. And then once we get down to April time-ish, that's when we're going to reshift a bit and come back to, like, here's some ArcGIS Pro techniques related to presenting your map, actually putting your map together, like I said, into something that's really nice. That can fit into a final project that you'd want to submit, right? And I set aside about, well, let's see. No, I don't have anything posted here. So expect that this is going to be due early May kind of thing, which means that you've got, you know, at least without any other assignments for you to think about, as I'm saying this right now, you've got at least 3 weeks at the tail end to work on your project, right? And like I said, I'm going to post information about this much sooner than that time frame so that you can prepare and you can start working on it as soon as I post the stuff out there. I don't want you to get too far ahead of yourself at this moment in time, because I want you to experience some of the class first and kind of like maybe stumble upon something. That's I don't know. I know that's maybe not the best word to use, but oftentimes as you go through something like this kind of situation, you come across things that you don't realize would have been interesting to you, and kind of by accident, right? And in that case, then you say, okay, well, now I really want to explore that technique or that tool or that content even more and make that, you know, in your final project kind of thing. So that's it. I think I covered it all for you guys. Yeah, yeah. I know I'm really only talking to one person live right now. Did you have anything that you wanted to clarify or say about Wana?
I just had a quick question. Will there be like a field trip or anything like that, or
Oh, yes, there will be. Did you see that on my, did I say something about that already? Or
maybe last semester you were,
okay.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you brought that up actually, because I think I have it up in mind here. I think. Yes, I do want to go do something with you guys. Okay. Um, you know, I haven't formally put it out there yet because I'm still brainstorming about when and what it is that we're going to do. I'm leaning towards something like a drone data capture flight where we get together at a location and go capture data in real time. And you know, I'm really glad you brought this up because it's something that is on my to-do list sooner than later, and I want to give you guys that information now so that maybe we do a poll and say, hey, this is the best time for people to get together and meet. I know that it's not technically part of this class. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not on the schedule or whatever, right? So with that being said, though, it would be something that I would definitely encourage everybody to come around and be a part of because you're going to get the best experience from that. So yes, we will do, uh, actually, I have two things about this. We will do kind of a collective group thing, okay, where we're all together and I'm sharing something with you guys about, you know, let's say like how to fly the drone, how to capture imagery, and you know, then you're going to use it for doing some of these other labs. That will be a group effort, right? We all get together, same time, same place, kind of thing. Um, I think the other thing that I wanted to mention that I probably said last semester too, and this is actually coming up next week. So this lab that I have here called the field collector, okay? It's mostly done. I've mostly put it together. I have to add, I have to revise the actual PDF before I can unlock it for you guys, but I will. But yeah, so that one is going to be one where you, on your own, you will go out and use an app from Esri called Field Collector, and you will go out and collect data at a park. So you will have to physically go to, I think a park location is what I'm thinking, but like somewhere close by you. It's not a group thing. This will be an individual thing. And it won't be one of those that like you have to necessarily get together with people because like, it's an independent following of the lab instructions, but the lab itself will be to go out and collect data. Okay, so there's a couple different times that in this semester you will kind of step outside of your step away from your desk and go outside to work on some of the lab stuff. But yeah, the field collector I'm going to be publishing probably by tomorrow. Um, and so you'll know what's involved with that one on Monday, the 14th. And then the other one, I'll definitely give you guys some information, the group one, and we'll try to work together about you know, what's the best time and place for everybody to make sure we can you know, do that as a group. So thanks for bringing that up. If do you have anything else to add? If you don't, that's okay.
No, I'm good.
Okay, thanks so much. Well, I think I'm done saying what I need to say about this class. So yeah, enjoy. I hope you enjoy all the stuff that I've got for you guys. There's definitely some things you probably never heard of or seen before, but you know, this is all things that I'm really into and became kind of specialized in the more that I was involved with GIS. And so I hope you enjoy it, and that you'll take a lot out of this class. And yeah, that's it. So have a good rest of the day. Thanks for watching wherever you did. And reach out if you need anything anytime, this semester. Okay. We'll see y'all out there on Canvas, and take care. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.
Thank you.